Okay, so we're going to look at surface area of prisms. So the first example I have here is what's called a rectangular prism. It looks kind of like a box. So there's a lot of confusion. Some people think of prisms and they think it's a pyramid, but it's completely different. A prism is like a three-dimensional shape that where the front and the back are basically the same shape. That's what a prism is. So in this case, it's a rectangular prism because the front and the back are both rectangles. So when we're finding the surface area here, I have the surface area formula on the side. 2 times length times width times height, width times height. So basically what we're doing is we're finding all the sides and adding them all together. The area of all the sides and adding them all together. So because there's a front and a back, 2 sides, a top and a bottom that are the same, each pair of those is the same, we can just multiply the area by 2 once we find each one of them. So it's fairly straightforward. The length and the width, if we call this the length, that the width, and this the height, then we have 35 times 27 plus, and maybe put those in brackets to think of them, or order of operations will help you with this too. Length times width times height, which is going to be 35 times 19 plus, and then the width times the height, 27 times the 19. So we can see that 27 times the 19 are the sides, 35 times 27 are the top and the bottom, and then the 35 times 19 might be a little harder to see, but that would be the 35 is the length, 19 is the height, so that'll be the front and the back. Okay, if we maybe put 19 here as well, that would help. That's the front and the back. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to just work this out on our calculator. So we have 35 times 27, 945, plus, then I have 35 times 19, plus, then I have 27 times 19, 513. So this represents the area of each face inside. Don't forget to multiply by 2 at the end. So I add them all together. I get 513 plus 665 plus 945 is 2123. That's the inside of the brackets. And then we finally multiply that by 2 to find the full area, which is 4246. And that would be in feet squared because we're dealing with the area. So that's the answer for the first one. Now, just a question. What if the top was open? So what if this was like a tank or something and the top was not there? What I'd have to do is I'd have to subtract off, I'd have to minus off the top area, right? And the top area would be 27 by 35. Let's move that to make it less confusing. 35 is that top area, or the top side, and then that side over there is 27. So basically I would multiply those two together, 35 by, so I'd find my whole full area, which is 4246. Then I would multiply 35 by 27, 945, and I would subtract that from my total area that I found in part 1 to get 3301. And again, that would be in feet squared. So if the top was open, I'm just missing that one top side. Make sure that you subtract off the area that would be for that one side, because whatever material you're using to make this prism, you would not use that material for the top side. Okay, last example here is kind of like a tent shape. So again, it's a prism because the front and the back are the same shape. They're both triangulars, triangles. This would be a triangular prism. This one's a little more difficult because you have a bunch of different shapes here. You have a triangle on the front and the back, which are the same. Then you have 3 rectangles. 2 of them are going to be the same, but the bottom one is going to be a little bit different. So the side, like this side, and the other side over here, those two rectangles are going to be the same. So for the triangles, those are just base times height divided by 2. So I give you the base and the height there, the base is 14 times the height, which is 10, and we're going to divide that by 2, plus the 3 rectangles. So there's 2 rectangles that are the same, so you can find the area of each one of those maybe multiplied by 2. So the 2 that are the same are the 2 top slanted sides, and the bottom one is different. So the top slanted sides are 32 because it has a length of 32, and I call that the width of 12. So we have 32 times 12, and we would multiply that by 2 because we have 2 slanted sides. And then the third rectangle is the bottom, and the bottom rectangle has a, if you can kind of see it here, I can't draw it well. So the bottom rectangle has a side length of 32 and another side length of 14. So we'd have 32 times 14. So there are all the pieces that I need except for this first triangle. I forgot to multiply by 2, don't forget that, because there's a front one and a back one. In essence, when I multiply by 2, it's going to cancel out with the dividing by 2 in the bottom, but I'll just keep it there for now because that is the area of a triangle. So I have 14 times 10 divided by 2. That's the area of one triangle, times 2 is 140 for 2 triangles, plus, then I have the side 2 rectangles, which are 32 times 12, and then I multiply that by 2 because there's 2 of them. And then I have the bottom piece of the tent, which is 32 times 14, and I get 448. And then it's just a matter of adding all those pieces together. So 448 plus 768 plus 140 are 1356. And again, this is surface area, so this would be, the units would be feet squared. Okay, well hopefully that helps you with your surface area. Rewatch the video if you have any questions.